Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, where I'm going to show you 22w42a, the first snapshot for 1.19.3 and 1.20, because we have some unique news that involves a different updating scheme. So, without further ado, remember to please like and subscribe, and let's investigate. So, here's the changelog, and essentially, the update rework is they're going to release smaller updates, so that's why it's both 1.20 and 1.19.3, because experimental features like the camel, which might get massive reworks, or possibly even removed outright, can just be developed separately, so that way if they need to remove it for some reason, pre-existing worlds won't be affected unless they have the experimental toggle, which comes through data packs. So, you can always have your more stable features like bamboo, blocks, and chiseled bookshelves, while keeping the more unsteady ones like camels aside, so that way your worlds don't get corrupted or have to be just completely redone from backups. So, it's a lot easier on Mojang, and it will cause less birch forest firefly situations. So, some new features: panorama scroll speed is an accessibility option now, in case you like finding the seeds for the panoramas. Bundles are now being tested again as an experimental feature. Some built-in data packs are the experimental features themselves, so they'll just be moved around as always. So that way you can get them, and when a full update's here, you can't get them anymore. So they're only here as you need them. So, Camel's bamboo wood set, which you can have chiseled bamboo. I'm going to talk about camels that are quite complicated. Chiseled bookshelves that you can actually store books in, with a good top texture that blends in with beehives. Then hanging signs, pretty self-explanatory. And some unique sounds for wood, so that way, just more sounds. Some other changes, and the creative inventory has been reorganized, so I'm going to definitely have to relearn it, but it's much better and more intuitive. And a lot of other things and bug fixes. So, it's not terribly long, but I'll just cover the important things. And here we have a camel. They're quite unique mobs, and they have cool animations, but they're not the most polished. You can see that they just kind of never touch the ground unless they're standing still. So they spawn in desert villages, but have a tendency to wander off. They don't drop anything besides experience, and they have a lot of health. So you can see that's about 36. So, very tanky mobs. They don't need to be tamed, and once you put a saddle on them, they start off slow, but it seems like they get faster and faster. So, it's quite a unique mob. And instead of having a jump, they have a dash instead. So that way you can get over nasty rivers, but you can't necessarily jump the highest. So, it's quite a cool mechanic. So, of course, these mobs have a baby version, and they can be bred. Along with having still really weird animations. This one just learned how to walk on water, and this one can just float oddly. You can breed them with cactus. And, it's pretty typical stuff. So, you can get them a lot, so you can always have an army of camels. Other things about camels are the fact that they're very tall. So, just grabbing another one even though I didn't have to. And you can summon, say, a husk. So, otherwise, these camels are still quite cool mobs. And you can breed them with cactus, so they're quite easy to make. And only one spawns per desert village. So, it's not necessarily the most efficient way to get these, but it's certainly the only way. And now we have a baby camel, but the most important thing about these is as a combat mob. So, summoning a couple of husks here, and they're hostile towards me. However, I'm on this camel now. They cannot get me, despite being right at the base of this, because camels are simply too tall, which makes these excellent combat things. However, of course, if you get too close, they'll still hit you if they take knockback. So perhaps it's not the best to try to attack them. Of course, this also only works on melee mobs, so don't think you can hide from a creeper on here. You can also sprint on these, which makes them faster than some horses on flat ground, but of course, higher ground can be a bit tough for them. So, they're definitely useful, and probably better than horses, but otherwise they're kind of situational. But they can host 2 players on these, so yeah, that's a huge plus for multiplayer. So, if you're playing with friends, I recommend getting some camels. Along with the camels, we also have a bamboo wood set, and it's quite a unique wood set. We have the normal bamboo planks, but we also have the mosaic version, which is basically just the equivalent of chiseled. So here's a side-by-side comparison, and I don't see myself using bamboo that often while building, but it's nice that it's there. So, of course, we have other things, but the most important thing about this wood set, besides the doors being like a mashup of what seems to be crimson and birch, we have the sign and the cooler sign. So, yeah, we have hanging signs now, and they're quite a fascinating block, because, of course, they hang, and there's a lot of ways we can arrange these. So, you know, all these different configurations, we can have hanging sideways like that, hanging like this, or we can just have more beams of them. So, there's probably a lot of them I'm missing here, but still, it's really cool that we have hanging signs now. So, we have all of our hanging signs here, and there's a grand total of 9 of them, because now there's 9 woods instead of 8. So, they're all pretty unique. You can hang them from each other, and they use their stripped log design. So, they're non-collidable except for the beam, and of course, most of these don't have beams. They have 16 different rotations, but anyways, they can be crafted quite easily. So, just like this, and now we have 6 hanging signs. So, conveniently I tried recording this, and there's no recipe for the birch ones. So, that's pretty sad, but that's going to be fixed. And also, a little thing I forgot, there's also bamboo rafts. They have no advantage besides a different model, and of course, that doesn't really help you much in gameplay. So, unless you really need to see what's in there, bamboo rafts are just as good as any other boat. Anyways, you can also make the bamboo hanging sign like this, not using the mosaic. And you only get 2 of them for some reason. Probably because it's a lot cheaper to get bamboo, because the recipe for these new bamboo blocks is ridiculously cheap. So, there's probably going to be a couple of discrepancies with using bamboo for things because how cheap it is. So, for our next feature, we have these chiseled bookshelves, and you can store books in them for real. We can see they work as good floor design with a combination of these beehives, and we can do a lot with these bookshelves. We can have the entire B-movie script here, so that way we can make a library of just B-movie script, put normal books, and enchanted books. So you can just go around and fill up these, and they work as good texturing. But of course, they are twice as expensive to fill up with books as a normal bookshelf. So, albeit they might look pretty, they are definitely expensive. Over here, we have some machinery coming from this, and we can have a little bit of work done on this. We can have comparators with it, so that way we can make a secret base. So, if you take certain books out, then, the repeaters will go off because less signal. And you can go on with them because, you can edit them using books. So, you can have an entire library, and only one of them will open a secret door. For our last significant change that isn't just excessively technical or I can't explain, we have the creative inventory rework. So, just new categories and new sorting. So we can see that similar blocks are grouped together rather than just being random. And I don't have too much to say about this. Besides, I would like these reordered so netherite is last, except for copper, because that's an actual build set, and just reordering the colors. But of course, that's just little things because playing Minecraft for 10 years really just gets that color order ingrained in you. So we have that. Then we have these nature blocks, and you can see it's just a lot easier to navigate. Functional blocks, redstone blocks, some tools and utilities, and we have the bundle. I've already covered the bundle, but essentially what I can do is store multiple items of different kinds. So just some random arrows. You can see these are all different. And I'm not entirely sure how these work. Okay, right click. And now you see 4. And I can take these out. So essentially being able to stack multiple items at once. But aside from that, we just have much better organization. Crafting I don't think should be a netherite ingot, but just kind of small. And spawn eggs, I feel it could be better than a shulker. Perhaps the unused NPC spawn egg from Bedrock Edition, albeit that might cause confusion. So, either way, much better system in place now. So, with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, take care, experiment with the new camels, Gearsaw out.